Imagine you're a restaurant owner, and you need to store your recipes and customer information securely. You can use a safe, but what if you need to access it from multiple locations? This is similar to the problem of connecting to a database from multiple applications. In this tutorial, we'll build a secure connection from Google Kubernetes Engine, GKE, to Google Cloud SQL. We'll use a real-world analogy to explain the concepts and make it easy to understand. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to set up a secure connection and deploy your application. Let's start with the concept of Cloud SQL. Cloud SQL is like a safe where you can store your valuable data. It's a fully managed database service that allows you to focus on your application without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. GKE, on the other hand, is like a team of waiters who can serve your customers. It's a managed platform for deploying and managing containerized applications. To connect to Cloud SQL from GKE, we need to use a secure connection, like a secret password. This is where network security comes in. Network security is like a bouncer who checks the identity of everyone who wants to enter the restaurant. It ensures that only authorized applications can access the database. We'll use a concept called a private IP to connect to Cloud SQL from GKE. A private IP is like a private entrance to the restaurant that only authorized people can use. Let's take a look at the architecture diagram. We have GKE, which is the managed platform for deploying and managing containerized applications. We have Cloud SQL, which is the fully managed database service. We also have a private IP, which is the secure connection between GKE and Cloud SQL. The private IP is like a private entrance to the restaurant that only authorized applications can use. We also have a network, which is like the roads that connect the restaurant to the outside world. The network allows us to access the database from multiple locations. We also have a firewall, which is like a bouncer who checks the identity of everyone who wants to enter the restaurant. The firewall ensures that only authorized applications can access the database. To follow along with this tutorial, you'll need to have a Google Cloud account and a basic understanding of Kubernetes and databases. You'll also need to have the Google Cloud SDK installed on your machine. The Google Cloud SDK is like a tool that helps you manage your Google Cloud resources. You can install it by running the command cloud auth login and following the prompts. Let's compare the different options for connecting to Cloud SQL from GKE. We have a public IP, which is like a public entrance to the restaurant that anyone can use. We also have a private IP, which is like a private entrance to the restaurant that only authorized applications can use. The private IP is more secure than the public IP, but it requires more setup. We also have a VPN, which is like a secure tunnel that connects the restaurant to the outside world. The VPN is more secure than the public IP, but it requires more setup and can be more expensive. To create a Cloud SQL instance, we need to go to the Google Cloud Console and navigate to the Cloud SQL page. We can then click on the Create Instance button and follow the prompts. We'll need to choose the database engine, such as MySQL or PostgreSQL, and configure the instance settings. This is like setting up a new safe in the restaurant where we can store our valuable data. We need to make sure that the safe is secure and configured correctly so that we can access our data easily. To create a GKE cluster, we need to go to the Google Cloud Console and navigate to the GKE page. We can then click on the Create Cluster button and follow the prompts. We'll need to choose the cluster settings, such as the node pool and the network, and configure the cluster settings. This is like setting up a new team of waiters in the restaurant who can serve our customers. We need to make sure that the team is trained and configured correctly so that they can serve our customers efficiently. Let's walk through the process flow. We start by creating a Cloud SQL instance and a GKE cluster. We then need to configure the network settings and create a private IP connection between the GKE cluster and the Cloud SQL instance. We also need to configure the firewall rules to allow traffic between the GKE cluster and the Cloud SQL instance. Finally, we can deploy our application to the GKE cluster and connect to the Cloud SQL instance using the private IP connection. To verify that our application is connected to the Cloud SQL instance, we can check the console logs. We can navigate to the GKE page and click on the Workloads tab. We can then click on the Logs tab and check the logs for our application. We should see that our application is connected to the Cloud SQL instance and that it's able to read and write data to the database. One common issue that beginners face is that they forget to configure the firewall rules. This can prevent the GKE cluster from connecting to the Cloud SQL instance. To fix this issue, we need to configure the firewall rules to allow traffic between the GKE cluster and the Cloud SQL instance. Another common issue is that the private IP connection is not configured correctly. To fix this issue, we need to configure the private IP connection between the GKE cluster and the Cloud SQL instance. In this tutorial, we learned how to connect to Cloud SQL from GKE securely. We created a Cloud SQL instance and a GKE cluster, and configured the network settings and firewall rules. We also created a private IP connection between the GKE cluster and the Cloud SQL instance. By following these steps, we can deploy our application to the GKE cluster and connect to the Cloud SQL instance securely. This is like setting up a secure and efficient restaurant where our customers can enjoy their meals. Subscribe for daily in-depth DevOps tutorials explained in simple terms.